Hello. It is a little bit dark in here. Hold on 1 second. I'm just opening up some stuff. Made a big old dark circle over there in the corner, and I didn't like it. Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope everyone had a good holiday weekend. Why does that not go away? We got some people joining. I kind of want to wait just a little bit because obviously we go through some stuff, and I know that questions will come up likewise. Yeah, I did have a good holiday. We can talk about that for a second. No, it was good. I mean, we had some family in town, and I had to take a little bit of I had to detox a little bit because it was getting crazy on my side. We've got some fundraising that's going on, just kind of some high level stuff while we're still waiting for people to join. We've got some fundraising that's happening again. I know that we talked about this before, but we've gone over what we need, where we're going, and we're doing it again. So that's happening. You can spread the word. If any of you just hit the lottery or something like that and you want to invest in Dragon Federation, let me know. But no, we started doing that, and it's been hectic. It's the full-time job on top of everything else, and then obviously having some family stuff. And so I took the holiday weekend, and I was like, I am gonna try my best to simmer a little bit. Yeah, but I hope everybody else had a chance to do the same thing. It's always good to take a break, even though we're coming real fast up on another one, right? Lots to do until then. Well, we've got, let's see, there's 9 of us. It's not going to be a huge group. That's okay. We didn't announce it earlier just because it was the holiday weekend. And so I pinged Dice and I was like, hey, let's get the Lone Story link. Here it is. And let's get that out. But a couple of things I want to talk about today. You may have noticed that the Google Play Store has taken down the app. Some of you probably had that. So we were going over that today. We found out that for some reason our credentials weren't accepted by Google. And we saw that there was an alert prior, but we weren't in trouble of being non-verified. So it was strange how it all kind of happened. And the funny thing was they're like, no, we notified of you this a long time ago. They just sent me the email 2 hours ago, even though we actually already went in there and re-uploaded the documents just to make sure that was going to be reinstated. But we're going to check back in a couple of days. So sorry for that. Bear with us. It was a total fluke. We didn't know why it happened. And so we're after that a little bit. That's kind of the first and foremost on the list that I wanted to talk to you guys. But we've got a nice little intimate group here. That's not going to be the best for like a wide variety of feedback, but I would like to share some stuff with you guys on the roadmap for the app. And just talk about it, and we'll probably repost it or do some polls because what we're doing is, again, like, I don't want to develop stuff that is not going to be interesting for what you guys are hoping to have and what you guys want to do with your dragons. But we'll just kind of go over some of the skills that we're planning on putting in there. Some of them are going to be priority, and I'll kind of review those for you, and then some of them won't be. But let's just take a moment and we'll go through that. We had a really good call. I'll just update you. We had a really good call with one of the people that we've been working with for a long time. He still works for Meta, so we still, you know, not going to give out any names there, but he's working with us as kind of like a fractional CTO, and we're putting together everything that we need to for the back end system. That's been the biggest reason why the perpetual clock for keeping track of your dragons. You guys probably noticed, we've seen it in the comments and everything else that, hey, my dragon says that it's freezing even though I just heated it up, or those types of things. And that's because it's algorithmic right now. It's not based on live events, and that back end system that we're putting together is going to make it so that that system is working. And again, like the features of traveling, changing time zones, all those things will be determined by that. So that's where that gets a little bit more important, because all of the systems about how it's keeping track of it, when you're getting alerted, how you're getting alerted, what your settings are, all of those things. That's what that's keeping track of. But we've got a really good. We're hoping to have that done before the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to, just because it's a, I guess the biggest issue is we still want to QA it, because there's going to be so much involved with you guys, and we're going to have you guys test it, and we might even have you do like a live 90-day test, or expand it, because you guys have only done the 30-day test. But we just want to make sure that whole system, because as we add to it modularly, that's going to be the thing that goes into the headsets, goes into some of the other peripherals that we're working with, all of those things. So it's not going to be a long roadmap, but there's two things, right? We got to get out in front of you guys as Raising Your Dragon, and we've got to make sure that that it's all working the way that it needs to. So it's a little bit longer than we thought on that, but it's right around the corner. And yeah, so let's kind of talk about this, and feel free to jump in here and ask any questions. I definitely like it to be a back and forth, makes it more interesting. But I've got some stuff to kind of go over, and we'll talk about this. So in the app, obviously we're talking about the major things, right? Like feeding, training, certification, and that kind of goes along with the learning and reading. And I know that probably sounds really lame, but we've talked about this from the Lore of Dragon Federation. Like, what does it mean to raise a dragon? What types of dragons, breeds, all those types of things, field journals. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the reading. Health and exercise, sleeping, and then a couple of other things like gathering resources and even crafting. And we've been looking at doing that, make sure that that's all in the app, because the way that the app is going to be is it's going to be that foundation, right? And you guys already know this. You guys have continually asked if you can raise your dragon without having the headset. And we still know that it's early in adoption. We know that it's also picking up with the 3S and some of the other things, and pricing is coming down on those things that a lot of people are getting excited about what's happening on the headset. I am too, but we're definitely prioritizing the app so that you guys can have that full experience, being able to do that. And so when we talk about feeding, right? We talk about like daily food supplies, deliveries, or weekly, and being able to set those things up in your app so that you can have those deliveries. Now, sometimes we can just obviously electronically shoot it to your account, right? Where it's all of a sudden you've got more food or treats or those types of things that's in there. But I don't know how many of you are interested in this, but it's also more complicated, because I personally would love to have a little package that comes, and that using spatial anchors and some of the other things to be able to set up your space in your own home, so that when you open up the app and it recognizes that it's in your home, you can have like the dragon dish in this corner, and you can have the the bed in this corner, and you can have those types of things that stay there until you elect to pick them back up, move them around. But being able to have, sorry, I can't lean on this, it shakes the camera. But to have those things so that you can, same thing with the delivery, right? And we know that we've talked about this, like if you're working, you may not want daily supplies. If you're not working in your home or whatever, you just may not want the continual interruptions. That's going to be kind of the balance flow that I really kind of want some feedback from a lot of people. If you know, even right now, let's see, we got 12 people on the call. How many of you are interested in spending, I don't know, 30 minutes a day or more interacting with your dragon? Just kind of like throw up some likes or some hearts or something on there. Couple of you. Okay. We're 30 minutes a day is fine. Don't go over 30 minutes like required. That's a reasonable amount of time. I would love to try. Yeah, so that's kind of my thought process, right? A lot of the check-ins being like no more than 5 minutes with your dragon. Obviously, you can spend, and the interaction. What we're trying to work on is to make sure that the interaction is exciting, especially after the hatch. Right. This is what I'm talking about. These are things that we want to talk about after the hatch, not during the hatching process, the incubation process. So Luca, yeah, just to answer your question, so like real world objects that will show up in VR. So there's a couple of unique things that are happening right now. Now, I don't know yet how complicated this is, but even Gaussian splatting, you can see it happening. Niantic is using their system as well because they've got a really good geopositional system, and they're trying to actually just get a lot of like studios to use their backend systems, and that allows people to go out because most of your phones are capable of this. You can go around and take objects, right? Now we know that we already have AI tools that are taking like the Gaussian splatting and then turning them into objects that you can use in augmented reality and VR. The, the biggest difference is that the headsets are still not compatible with that kind of density, mesh, those types of things. They can't. We have to be really careful about what can go into VR from that standpoint. But in the phone, depending on if it's a real object or being able to create a digital twin over that object in sort of a spatial mapping scenario, the only problem is how good is that stuff being updated real time. Now, the stuff that we're talking about is digital objects that are placed in AR from a like a spatial anchors. That's what they call them, because when you're using like lidar and some other things on your phone, it's detecting the depths in the surface areas in your house or wherever you're looking, and you can actually memorize those things and save them. And so what that does, it does take up a little bit of memory, but once it's been saved, then like I said, the dragon dish, not the dog dish, the dragon dish or the bed can be in a place that you designate. And so when you go walking up there and you put on you're like, oh, you're looking around your house, wondering where your dragon is, maybe in the bed, right? And those will be things that as we start to see better advancements in this area, it will start to feel way more integrated like that. But we're keeping it digital because we want to make sure that the dragon can interact with it. And that way, some of the things like feeding, like we were talking about, so placing the food dish, like I was talking about, but like having the dragon being able to move that dish, turn it over, and even chewing it. So like creating messes and spilling it, that type of thing. And then I'm thinking about something a little bit more advanced, like being able to feed it with your hands. But we'll see. That's probably more of a secondary type of feeding system, just because it's going to be a little bit complicated. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Love to try 30 minutes. Is the new Dragon monitor going to be out soon? Yeah, so it sounds like Beth just joined us. Beth, you might have to go and no, you were here. It looked like you were here. So what that means on the monitor, I'm going to go back to this real quick. Is we are putting the backend system together, which will create another beta test. Just because we want to make sure that it doesn't get buggy and that your dragons aren't. The biggest thing again that we don't want to do is that we don't want to launch it and then you're upset because your dragon isn't like something happened. And so our backend system is being modified right now, and that's what we're going through to make sure that that's updated. But we don't expect it to be long. The only thing that might delay that is the fact that we want to get pretty far ahead of you guys as far as development so that we don't run into a crossroads of, hey, my dragon hit a point and we're at development and we haven't been able to match the speed in which you guys have been going. And so that's the only thing that we're in a balancing act right now. And we'll have updated that. We'll have some updates on that probably in the beginning of the year, just to let you know. Let's see. I spend about 4 hours a day. I love that. Sorry, I didn't finish that thought. Okay, interesting. I'm not as tech savvy, so I wasn't quite sure. Oh, no, you're all good on that. But like, it's what we're trying to do again is make it pretty interactive. So the things that you could do with your pet, this was our whole design from the very beginning. A thing that you could do with a real pet are the things that we're trying to create that you can do with your dragon. So when we talk about the feeding, right now, training, we're playing with a couple of things there, especially on the phone. Because there will be some tools or toys that you can use both in AR and in VR, and or on the mobile phone. I got to stop saying AR and VR. It's the easiest way to distinguish. Because if you can do it in AR, you should also be able to do it through the pass-through, just more interactive. But VR is definitely transported into the Dragon realm. That's kind of my distinction. But so we're looking at this toy that you can even change the viewpoint of your monitor because it's almost like turning it into an RC, like you're controlling the toy, and then you can get the viewpoint of the thing. So if the dragon eats it, you're kind of looking down the throat of the dragon, or that type of sensation with the phone. But kind of get some thoughts on that. We'll definitely want to talk about that, but having a different view that will allow you to go from your perspective, where your phone is kind of the recognizer for the dragon to understand, like, oh, this is where my person is, as well as turning it into more of a control device where now the primary occupant, I mean, it will still use your phone as that, but it will also start to recognize that you might be looking at it through the toy. We're going to still play with a couple of things like that, but these are again like thought processes that I want you guys to think about. Like, what are you interested in? Sharing some of those ideas, making sure that we're getting the feedback that's what you're hoping for. Like, if you're just like, hey, I just want a laser pointer, or one of the other things that I thought would be really cool is because you're going to be training your dragon, and whether it's going to be to eat or defend or to do other things, like even being able to turn the toys, some of those things into like a holographic representation of another object. But that's something. And then even a target. So placing targets for those of you that are going to raise fire breathers and that want to have a little bit of target practice, or even smashing it with your head, or those something like that. But yeah, let me know what that kind of how that strikes your fancy, if you will. And then sleeping is dragon agility courses 100%, right? Like as they're going through that would be great. I'm gonna put that in here real quick because I've got this pulled up. Agility courses. And I don't know if that should be in health and exercise, but that's more for humans, not necessarily for your dragon. So training. I'm going to put that under training. But there has been some people that have commented about health and exercise where it can track your steps. As we get smarter, being able to allow the dragon to go with you. Or here's one of the next things that we're working on, and it's more of a passive system. And here's why. A lot of animals, you come home from your day, right? And the animal will just come to you unless it's just being a brat. And kind of in the same way, we don't want it always to be initiated by you, if that makes sense. Now, this requires a couple of different things that we are working through because it's tricky, especially when it comes to privacy, because that's another thing that we are just like adamant about, protecting your guys' privacy. But the one thing that we want to be able to do here is, even if you don't have the app open, dragons still hear you. So if you bring it with you, like we do with the scale and some of the other portable aspects, right? The dragon can hear you. If you even want to elect, it's probably just be like a checkbox or a radio button that you can say, hey, dragon's with me all times, right? So I don't leave it at home. And then that way it just tells the system that dragon's always interacting or listening to you. Now it's not going to be like all the time because we can't afford that kind of bandwidth and certainly like storing that kind of information, just so you know. But the way that we're looking at that is so the dragon is actively registering and understanding your mood cycle, and then also recognizing that and then pinging you. So like even if your phone, the app isn't open, screen's dark, but let's say you're watching a show that it's familiar with, or that you just get off a phone call and it's a little bit depressed, or you're a little bit down, and all of a sudden you get pinged by your dragon. It's like, are you okay? Now, this is kind of advanced for the AI, so I'm not saying that this will happen right away, but one of the things that kind of goes into this is this, and that's my other computer. Going into this, as far as like, it's starting to learn you, right, personally. And that's where we're going. That's way different than anybody else, because everybody else's data is trained on a big melting pot of the same data. And we're getting really personal with this. And so we're looking at those ways that can make it extraordinarily personal. So like if you have those moments, you just got chewed out by your boss or whatever else, it starts to like hear you, reflect that, and then ping you like a dog or a cat would do. Maybe not a cat because they don't really care, but like a dog, where they'll rest their head in there and they'll just like, hey, I'm here. You don't have to pet me, you don't have to do anything, but I'm here, right? And it's kind of like the similar sort of idea. So it's very much a passive system, which is different than constant interaction, right? And that's what I'm calling it, so that you guys can start to understand that. I'd love that you love that. That would be great, because that is one of the things that we haven't kind of worked on, or we haven't talked about too much. But yeah, when you look at it from an emotional support thing, we know that there's been people on Discord, and the way that we've seen a lot of the use cases with you guys interacting with your eggs, with the scales, with some of the physical items, that there is an attachment to those things. And if we can do that the same way with the personality of the dragon, that's really kind of what we're going for there. Because, even if you're only checking it 5 minutes a day, or whenever you want to, or not even like all the time, you just know that it's there and you have something that's with you. But yeah, exactly, Luca. That's exactly right. That was one of the reasons why we came up with that system, because it was like, how do we make it so that it doesn't have to be, one thing that I don't like, and especially what we were trying to avoid, is just like those typical AR pet sim games where you're just like constantly throwing stuff out there, like whether it's a ball or food or whatever else. It's like, oh, I've got to entertain you and everything else. It's like, no, that's not the way that relationships need to work. And so having that sort of system. We've got, when is the VR game out? Well, got a little ways to go on that one. If you've been able to go see on SideQuest, you can download the first night demo and start to get that interaction. So you already have that on the Quest, and that is available for you guys. But there's a little bit to go, and we're making sure that the entire system in the back end is dialed before we really start going full into the VR. And that's also, there's two things to think about there. The majority of everything that we've sold at this point are eggs and scales. I know that a few of you do have pygmies, and so that is, part of the VR experience, as we've talked about. But like, because so much of what is right now is in the mobile side, that's where we're starting, just to make sure that that's flush. Awesome, Barbara. Thank you for that comment. So yeah, the difference of the different ones that we're talking about then there are resource gathering and crafting. Even those are not necessarily priorities, but we plan on having those within the first year, as well as health and exercise, because it does sound like that a lot of you were like, oh, it'd be really nice if, maybe it taps on the screen and it's like, hey, I've got to go to the bathroom, take me for a walk. And again, this is where that passive system comes in, where it says that it's always with you. So if you go out for a walk, it's like your dragon's getting steps as well. I don't know if that's something that interests everybody, but let me know. Demo, do we know when that is coming out? So the app demo, which one are you talking about, Barbara? Is that the mobile app or is that the VR? Just to clarify. Okay. Well, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up from the stuff that we're mentioning, so that's a good thing. I'll take that. Yeah, that's kind of what at least year one looks like. I think that if we put together some polls, if you guys would be interested in giving us some feedback on Discord as we start to get closer. Actually, we should probably just start doing it right now, and ranking some stuff as terms of priority, what you're looking forward to, and that will actually really help us. Let's see. Earlier rare egg, are you guys truly almost out of eggs, and that's why it's such a deep discount? Okay, Wintern. So we are getting to the end of, we haven't been manufacturing the eggs. And so when you look at the pricing that's coming out right now, it's because there's two things that's happening. One, we have inventory, and we want to make it accessible. The second piece of this is after this, we're not going to be including the membership. So or the subscription. There's a couple of things that we will clarify in the upcoming, because I talked about this on the last Lorem story. But the other piece of it is because we have started another fundraising round. We did that again for the FanX thing. That went really well. We got through that, but we still needed to raise. We still need to raise a lot more money. And so what this next step is to just kind of move product and allow that to go, because we're just maintaining some traction, if that makes sense. But we don't have any plans to manufacture. We're not putting any more into manufacturing probably until we announce our soft launch. So this is kind of like it, if you will. We've now gotten to the point where we're just getting rid of the supply so that we can get rid of that inventory off of our books, and then we're, as soon as we announce that the app is live and that it's going live and that here's our date, then we're probably going to go back to pre-res or pre-orders, and that probably won't happen for another, like, eggs won't be available for another 6 months, possibly. So that's why we're looking for it that way, just to let you guys know. Okay, the monitor. So Barbie, I guess I might be on a little bit of delay. I'm seeing myself, and but the monitor app. So if you're talking about specifically in the Google store, what happened was I did cover this. I'll briefly touch on it again. We got pinged because they couldn't validate our credentials, and they didn't tell us that. We were doing everything that we needed to do compliant. I didn't get an email till today, and Dice and I were working through that, and I resubmitted everything. So we should hear back here in the next like 24, 48 hours. And hopefully that clears everything up, and that will be reinstated. The app, the demo is already supposed to be there, but it looks like that they took it down recently. I think it was like November 25th or 26th, right before the holiday. So that was a real fun surprise. Clarify, getting rid of Mountain Skull specific inventory. Yes, correct. That's right, Sky. Let's see, FanX items, more of an update. Okay, I am not sure the FanX items. So all the eggs should have been shipped. So that should have all happened. Now, if you are still waiting on specifics, either a scale or a placard or something, please refresh our memory. I did get one from Dice today, and I've got that one on my list, so that we can go get that taken care of for an elder. But if there isn't something that you have, then we need to, I almost want to shut down the other tickets and reopen new ones just to clean out the system. So we do have scales. We can get those out. It's not an issue of whether or not we don't want to get them to you. It's not that at all. If you're in Utah, let me know. We don't even have to mail it. You can come pick it up or something like that. We can figure this out. But I want to just make sure that, we have the stuff. We can get it to you. And if we've missed you, certainly apologize. A lot of things were handwritten, and I even lost some things that were really dear to me at FanX. And so please be patient with us. I apologize. We don't mean for this to be like this far along without you guys getting the stuff that you were supposed to get, but we will get you taken care of. So I still not received. I have the egg in bag, and that's it. Okay. Yeah, Brandon. If you've already opened up a ticket, if you haven't, then please go and do so, and we can get that taken care of. Let's see. Oh, and then no stands. That's cool. I just sell in general for physical product egg stand. Yeah, obviously more stuff, right? We do have extra inventory of the egg stands, so those are something that we were also looking at having some of those things so that we can also give them away as giveaways or participation. Let's see. I think I was the one that I said to you today when you tell me if we got stuff that's easier for you guys. I think, Kyle, you might be further, and I think that we were just talking about sending that to you, but yeah, either way, talk with Dice. Let me know what you want to do. If you're around, we're in the Salt Lake City area. If not, we can just get that in. We can get that in the mail this week. So again, we have the stuff. Just let us know if it's gone through the cracks. I don't see a lot of the tickets until it gets escalated, and I'm not putting anybody under the bus because they're doing a fantastic job. It was just a nightmare as far as we had. If you were at FanX, I'll just reiterate this: we had about 5 or 6 people coming in and out of cashiers on a daily basis. And so their job was to write down what they got and what they didn't get. And then that was transferred to a spreadsheet after the thing. And then it was lined up with customer orders. But not everything made it. I just found out today, and I don't even, like, it was yesterday or this weekend. I don't even know how it happened, but I'll just tell you guys this. Like, this poor person didn't even like have their dragon code, and I don't know how they even were able to purchase an egg and not get a code, but we know that happened for a couple of people. And it was just like, okay, yeah, we can get that taken care of for you. So it's stuff like that. I just appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, Beast Whisper, got it. Let's see. There is something that I am working on. Oh, so I want to announce a couple of things. So we are going to do a holiday, basically like give the gift of dragon owners, like a companion, dragon companion. And it's a gift card that comes with some stuff. And that stuff, I believe Dice will be announcing. I think we're going to be doing a scale, one of the dragon bags, the sling bags, and possibly even the placards. It's kind of like a holiday bundle for a mystery egg with the mountain skull. And we are not going to be shipping the eggs on that package until after Christmas, because depending on what happens with the inventory, we just need to make sure that nobody is expecting to get whatever it is that they think they're going to get if we have to manufacture, because we still have some supplies to be able to bring some more eggs. Sorry, not manufacture, bring them out of the dragon realm. But we just think that it would be a great way for other people to get involved with this, especially as we're going into the next steps of this thing. So if you've ever thought about giving it to your niece, nephew, or yourself, or your husband or wife, or anybody else, we will be having those holiday packages that are going to be announced, I believe, in the next like 24, 48 hours. And it will only be for this season. And again, with the rarities that were being offered right now, like it is only going for this month. So if there are still supplies, which I doubt that there's going to be a lot of it left, to be honest, but if there are still supplies, we are going to be taking that back down after the holidays, just so you guys know. Want to keep that up to date for you. Okay, so here's something that I wanted to bring by you guys. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm putting more on my shoulders, even though I kind of am. For those of you that know me or don't know me, let me kind of tell you a little bit about my background and a little bit how insane I am. I love storytelling. It's why I got into movies. And if you don't know, I produced the Emmy award-winning show. I love to say that. It's ridiculous that I say that. Yo Gabba Gabba. And I did that with some really good buddies of mine. We worked with the Aquabats. We worked on the Aquabats Super Show. We've done a lot of different projects, especially with my background in film and television. And as a writer, as a content creator, I just really get into that side of things. And it's been a little bit of an Achilles heel for me in the software side of things. I know enough in Unreal that I can be annoying. I know enough on coding side, visual effects and these types of things, because I would do that. I'd spend even some of my free time as a special effects artist, as an editor, doing some things for some buddies of mine. And so I have this like ridiculous sort of passion to continue to evolve using new software, testing things out, trying things out. And so I'm actually taking on a personal project and coursework because I want to know more than I know. Let's just say that. And I hope that this will be something cool for you guys because in addition to what we're kind of moving forward with from the app side to the VR side, I am looking at doing, drum roll, it's an announcement, I guess. I have started taking some classes from Epic to basically do Unreal. And I was thinking about doing it on the app so that I can get in there and start tweaking things the way I want it. But I thought it would be better not for me to be tinkering and screwing things up. So this is where I'm going with this. I would like to announce that I am going to be doing a third experience. This is going to be part of my personal project that I'm going to do. I hope that it doesn't take long, so I'm not going to announce a time frame on it. However, how many of you would be interested in playing a PC or console game that you can download that would be basically, let's call it a prequel, where you get, as a dragon rider, first person, you get sent into the dragon realm to help find the site in which Dragon Federation would be able to establish their HQ. And I've got it kind of designed and formulated in my brain. And it's kind of on this, I guess I'll just tell you because I have it pulled up right here. I can kind of tell you the name of it just to kind of whet your appetite. Oh, here we go. The Dragon Realm Survival. And I don't want to go into too many details, but it's basically, like I said, getting in there, surviving, getting to the next stages, and then helping discover where we can set up Dragon HQ. And the reason why I'm interested in doing it, it's two reasons. We've been approved to be beta testers on a new product called Cybever. And if you're not familiar with it, just check it out. I could probably even put it in the chat. Let's see, cybever.ai, or is it Cybever AI? I think it's .ai. Let me see if that's right. Let me change. I am going to change that. Let me double check on this. I could probably just share my screen. You want me to share my screen? I'll share my screen. Let's just do that. Let's mix it up a little bit. Extraordinarily complicated, especially when it comes to models, when it comes to, I don't know, a whole bunch of different aspects. And I don't want to get into it here. And the limitations of VR, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing it, but this AI right here allows us to produce landscapes and environments. And I'm going to stop this because it looks like it might be lagging. So I'm going to stop sharing on that just real quick. So they actually use a tool, and this is why I'm really excited about them. They use a tool called Houdini. For those of you that are in like compositing or special effects, Houdini is a very complicated program, but it is the de facto for a lot of the simulations, a lot of the stuff that you'll see for rendering when it comes to like hair renders for all sorts of different movies. It's an extraordinarily powerful program. And this company, yeah, I had to shut it off because streaming on this and showing that detail was not working out too well. So I'm glad that we've kind of fixed that. I hope, can you guys hear me now? Anyway, the bottom line is I want to be able to fast iterate, especially on the world that we're creating. And I want to test this product because it's the first one that's using like the tools that I use. When we create special effects, when we create worlds, when we do that, and we go into fine detail, that's what we're doing. And so like to be able to explore larger worlds, be able to iterate on that and test that, and then also be able to use that. So when the VR is ready, especially for going beyond the HQ, to be able to already have that tested in an early prototype and diagram that you guys might will get a sneak peek on what's beyond the wall. And I think that will be really, really cool. And so this is kind of like my personal project, because like as far as discovery, Easter eggs, things that we want to do as far as the larger product, we can start to test in this little sandbox. And this is what I'm really interested in doing. And so I am kind of officially announcing this because I want you guys to be able to collaborate with me on this. But yes, there is a caveat. Join the VIP. If you can join the VIP, because I'm only going to be communicating through the VIP, and these are the people that I will hopefully be getting builds out on a regular basis. Obviously, there's a lot of back end stuff that I have to do to it, just kind of like design. But that is something that I want to be extraordinarily involved with you guys to the community. So if you want to be a part of this, be a part of the VIP tier. And again, DICE has revamped that. We relaunched that, but this will only be available on the VIP tier. So otherwise, you'll have to wait till it releases and then you can play it. But for those of you that are very interested in help shaping this world, play testing and, doing a bunch of different things that way. If you've ever had that desire, this is going to be a little less complicated, I hope, just because we're going to be able to use regular GPUs and better systems for it. So it'll allow us to be a little bit more, run a little bit faster. But that's where I'm going with this. I wanted to share that with you guys because I definitely want you involved with it. But I do have to narrow it. It's only narrow as much as if it gets too big, then we'll have to cut it off. But it is something that I've already started. So it's something that I'm already going through, and I'm going to be eating it up and chewing it out. So PS5 and Xbox and the Switch, I don't know how easy it's going to be to basically do builds for those and to even what's going to take to get published on those. But the way that we are going to do it, so those of you that don't know, we were able to use the Xbox controller on our PC, right, for the controls for one of the experiences that we did at FanX. And I apologize that I haven't posted the video. It's been done for a while. I need to post that on the website. I need to share it on Discord for those of you that haven't seen the Dragon Live presentation. And, even being able to puppet the dragon. And so the allowing you guys to be able to puppet the dragon, but we're combining all of these elements because we are putting together the entire behavior system. We are putting together the entire map system. And there should be no one reason why you have to experience it on any one particular device. This is where we're going out of the norm from most of the people that we know of. And as well as when you talk about that emotional support animal, like that's the future. This is where we're going. Obviously, we're eating it in bite-sized chunks, but we're here for the long haul. We're here to just continue to make this thing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So When we talk about PS5 and Xbox, there are targets for that, but right off the bat, I don't know what it's going to be like to be approved on those stores, because just like we ran into the issue with Oculus, Steam PC, like PC on Steam, will probably be a little bit more accessible, especially for the iterative process. So if you have, I'm probably just going to be kicking it out for the PC at that point. But once we get a solid build moving, then we'll work at adapting it for those other consoles. But yes, that's what we're trying to hit for that. So I hope that's really cool. I hope you guys are really interested in that, because I would love to collaborate with some of you and really just kind of see, see what your creative juices are and see what you can bring to the table on this, because it will be a very intimate party, right? Like it already is that we're working with. And so just want to keep that going with you guys, and hopefully that's something that you find pretty exciting, because I'm pretty excited about it. Let's see. Let me just leave it up to you guys now. Let me just ask you if you have any other questions that I can answer, because we're already about at that hour mark, and I've got to jump because I do have to get ready for a couple of investor calls tomorrow, going through the pitch. So let me know what you're thinking. I've got a couple of minutes that I can answer anything. Are you support mod? So it's another reason why I'm going with Steam. I don't know if this is what you're asking particularly, but the support, sorry, I had a brain fart. Let me go back. The reason why, because I know that there's the mod that's on Steam VR where they can basically, not Steam VR, but Steam, where they can take any computer game and turn it into a VR game. And I'm trying to see how good those tools are. And that's one of the other reasons why I'm definitely targeting the PC on this one, because if there are ways that we can get even more available besides Quest, then that could be a viable place. So this is truly a sandbox, right? Like a lot of testing, a lot of iteration is going to be going into this, and then we'll be able to test out some of those mods. I don't know if we have to publish completely on Steam before we can test out some of those mods, but that's part of the thought process. Mod for making Dragon and more when the game out. I'm still not understanding, I guess, the full question for that. Are there going to be mods for different types of dragons or for different types of experiences? The idea is yes. So, I mean, for those of you that have been with us for a long time, like, we're not stopping at a ceiling. There is no ceiling for us. And that was one of the reasons why this project was designed the way that it was, because of what we plan on doing. So when we talk about mods, whether it's be with how your dragon can go either from our ecosystem or even possibly another ecosystem, that is on the roadmap as well. Now, these things are going to take a while, so don't get really excited for it to happen next year. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because this is all part of our development cycle, and the more that we can implement in the early stages to understand how that dynamic works, then we're going to be a lot better off. So we can create and upload for others to use. Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, again, so if it's community mods, like, one of the things that we really hope to do, similarly the way that Minecraft has, right, is that it opens it up to the community so that you can have your own UGC from whether it's content or from whether it's like a side storyline or something like that. And this is, there are a whole bunch of things that we want to do in that capacity. And so, yes. Big guy wearing the kilt. Oh, right on. I remember you, Brandon. remember you. Can't forget a god of war at FanX. Yeah, no, we'll get you taken care of for sure. Well, we are about there. So, again, you guys, I thank you so much for your support. I know that this has kind of been a little bit crazy. We haven't had too much conversation a lot lately. I have been just running full time in a fundraising platform. This is like, I can't believe how busy and how much is required of me right now. And so it has strained from how much time that I can actually spend communicating with you guys. So just know that we're not going dark, we're going bigger. And so I'm just still trying to balance that. But again, I love the support that you guys have, love this community, love the fact that you guys are continue like supporting us. And we can, again, couldn't be doing this without you. So, again, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that because we were looking at, I will say this, Barbara, we were looking at doing a crowd CF. The problem is the costs for regulation and to get that up and running. But it might be something that might be on the roadmap here in the next like month. Because we have some really good investors that we're working with right now, and we might be able to open that up. That's actually really, we keep talking about that, but again, like every single time that we add something else to the plate, it just takes away from something else. And so we have to be really, really careful about how much time and energy we spend in certain areas. But like, I love that. I've always loved that. I mean, this is one of the things that we talked about this a long time before, that when we were looking at even blockchain, it's because we wanted to put the ownership and the power into the community. It wasn't something that we wanted to just, be for us. That's what this whole thing is about. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for your support and your continual support. So there you have it. If you don't have any other questions, go ahead and hit them in the chat. Hit us up in Discord. Be a part of this. Go join the VIP. Let's start to have some fun. And if you're not already, and we'll talk to you soon. So I guess we'll see you all in the clouds, right? All right. Well, thanks for showing up, and have a good first week of December. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.